Hello. Sorry, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Elephant in the Room. Kevin, jump in before you did. My bad, my bad.
You're playing peekaboo, man, peekaboo.
So, how's things on your end, Taranjeet?
Very well, very well. It's a great segment that we are starting this week, and it's a continuation from last week. Actually, it's a follow up there. So yeah, I'm very excited. Got a good lineup of guests that we have during the week. So yeah, what do we have planned, Wihan?
So, in this segment, we wanted to continue from our last segment, which was last week with the four guests. And we started to look at today's reality and how we can do in moving forward, or not even moving forward, moving now. I think the question is now, no longer look forward. And now is the thing. So last week we talked about the learnings, the skill set, the redefinition of agility, as well as we focus on mental health to close the week as an overall impact to our well-being. So this week we wanted to maybe focus more functionally or even the directively what to do and how to do it, so that our viewers as well as all of us can be further aligned to really thrive in this current reality, so that we are not left behind. So
Very good.
today we'll be having a very interesting focus because we've been talking about in the last 2 to 4 weeks what you need to do, what you need to do, what you need to do, and what people are looking for. Today we're going to focus purely on recruitment, and this is a big elephant in the room because all indicators and all news that you read on a daily basis, it is a bad time for recruitment. If anything, is retrenchment, and we have already covered that topic. So we are focusing on recruitment. Taranjeet?
Excellent, and that's a really good way to tee this discussion off. So we are delighted, and for me personally, it's such an honor to have Kevin Yong join us today. Kevin Yong is an experienced recruiter with over 18 years of playing in this executive search space. He's gone beyond advising clients on recruitment practices, and he's now providing ideas, thoughts, reframing the approach that they're using, and strategies in ensuring that successful selection and subsequent retention of a key talent is maintained at an organizational level. Kevin has played in a variety, and I know this as a fact, I've known him for quite some time. He's played in a variety of industries, including the likes of aviation, automotive, manufacturing, construction, banking and finance, plantations, mining, and education. He's played at various levels, not only at a board level, C-suite, and therefore he's very familiar with some of the challenges and the issues that are being faced by these organizations. He's graduated from the University of Hertfordshire out in the UK with a degree of marketing. Now that's interesting. You come out in marketing and you're now dealing in the people stuff. And it's very exciting to see how he's done that transition himself to reimagine his own relevance in this whole scheme. And he's played a variety of key roles in the IT hardware as well as the executive search side. He's a founder and CEO of Optimus Consulting, a boutique executive search firm with Southeast Asian coverage as well as touching on the Middle East. And he's also co-founded, interestingly enough, a nascent tech startup focusing on the human capital space. I would like to welcome Kevin Yong to Elephant in the Room. Kevin, welcome.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Taranjeet. Wihan, nice to be here. How are you guys doing?
Good to have you. Good to have you on board, Kevin. Good to have you. So it's always great for you to be typing away on one side and then coming on to this side and actually having this conversation with us. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts. Wihan, let's start it off very quickly.
Yes. So thanks again, Taranjeet, for the introduction of our guest today, Kevin. And Kevin, I wanted to maybe just check with you on a bigger picture. How do you see the overall landscape of recruitment in this very I don't know whether the dust has settled or the dust is still churning, which is which. But maybe you give us a perspective of what it is now, and probably also a prediction of how it's going to be like in the coming weeks and months. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for having me on board. Really looking forward to speaking to you guys after watching so many episodes. Finally, I'm on board. Well, coming back to the question, it's such an interesting time that we are in now. None of our clients have actually predicted anything of this sort to happen. Last year, when they first planned their HR, their business, their overall operation strategy, and here comes a little virus back in January, February, and everything has just turned haywire. We have got clients having to look at the entire operation. They have to reset whatever they have planned, and it's interesting to see how. At the same time, it's also interesting to see how everybody is adapting very quickly to the changes needed. So from a business strategy to the recruitment space, to the recruitment of manpower, we have seen changes in the way, and it's going to be obvious. You see clients changing the way and being a bit more selective with the candidates, and choosing the right candidate at the end of the day, having not just the technical skill set but also the personality match for the culture in the organization.
Good. So maybe just a follow-up, a quick one. I just want you to maybe quickly answer this because I want to do some shout to our audience. So with that in mind, do your clients then have pretty much in your interaction with them sorted out their business model pivot or change? Therefore, they are looking for a different skill set and candidates to fulfill their business direction and goals? Or is it more of a replacement or a playing catch-up, which is which? Maybe just give us some background from your experience interacting with the multiple clients that you have in regards into this space.
From the discussion we had with some of our key clients, they very little pivot have been made. What have changed is the way they operate in their current business sector. The search for, I think the changes in terms of the recruitment, in terms of the people that they are looking for, it has to be more suitable in terms of the skill set and doing beyond what is expected of them. So in that sense, what we are seeing from our client is actually a more sophisticated effort in identifying the right candidates.
Okay, cool. So thank you for those who have just joined us. Welcome to Elephant in the Room. And today we have with us Kevin Yong, who is a very experienced executive search person over more than 20 years. He runs his own executive search consulting firm, Optimus Consultancy. So let's want to quickly do a shout out to all our audience. And number one is our good brother KJ Ko. Selamat tengah hari. Oh, dah malam ni. So welcome to coming on. Okay, very good evening to you, brother. We also have Sujit Bawan from Perth. Hi Sujit, thanks for tuning in. We have Malati. Hey, Malati from Brisbane. Thanks for tuning in again today. All right, we have you on last Friday, and you are with us as well yesterday. We have Dr. Mike from Singapore. Dr. Michael Hing from Singapore. Welcome, welcome. My brother Chong Sulim, thank you for being here. Dr. Bucks Tan, Ben Guan as well. Oh, Ben, you're back. Nice to see you, Ben. And my good friend, Mr. Zorak Chong, welcome, welcome. And wow, this is a Very surprising name, Aaron. Thank you for tuning in. Aaron is a past colleague as well. My good friend Ted Moy, and as well as Lim Han Jin. Thank you for having that. Okay, probably I'll get Taranjeet to ask you the next.
So, and that's interesting, Kevin. You talked about the area of skills. And I think just to follow up from Muihan's point, before we go to some of the questions being raised, what are some of these skills that are being looked at specifically by the clients that you have? Not technical, but managerial skills. What are some of these skills that are more focused these days?
Well, a lot of the clients are actually looking for people with the ability to, plan forward, looking at something, the bigger picture, someone who can see it, contribute from a bigger picture perspective, not just case specific, not just, task specific kind of functional person. At the end of the day, it's all about, creating value as an employee. Gone are the days where you come in and you are expected to do what you were hired to. In this current scenario, in this current situation, a lot of clients, they expect more from candidates and employees to step up to the plate. Especially when things get tough, it's challenging, and yep.
Okay, so let me raise this point that was raised by Ben. Muihan, if you could help me out, there you go. With government's new economic plan on giving incentives to companies to recruit unemployed, this is a good question. Will companies increase recruitment, or does this still seem to be a risk for recruiters not to recruit them, as some of the workers just want the job for the salary versus bringing in value to the company? What are your thoughts on this?
Let me, I'm trying to.
So the idea here that Ben is trying to put across is, are people going to go in there to ask for jobs and to apply for jobs simply because they want that dollar, and interventions and initiatives are being given, or are there other specific? So I'm hearing from you, Kevin, that the area around skills and relevance is now becoming more important.
Yes.
But quite honestly, those were the same things that were being applied yesterday as well. But I think what is happening now is we cannot afford to close one eye simply because the importance and the criticality of this has just shifted up a notch. The survival of the company now is at stake. So to Ben's point, here we have interventions from the government to provide funding for you to hire unemployed people. How will companies react to this? Will they take that funding, or are they going to be looking at other things rather than just funding alone?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's all about the business in hand, right? If employing more people, if you don't have the business to start off with, it's going to be difficult. So in this uncertain period, as much as the incentives are there for employers to actually employ more people, with so much uncertainty out there in the next 3 to 6 months, I would imagine, employers are still just going to be wary. They will be very careful in increasing their manpower just for the sake of enjoying the support from the government. The most important fundamental thing is to make sure that business will have some semblance of normality in the next 3 to 6 months. Then,
So you're absolutely right. And I don't mean to interject, but given the cognizance of time here, Dr. Heng has raised a very good point here. Muihan, if you could help out, there you go. Workers may desire the company to guarantee no rash or knee-jerk retrenchment come the next visit, God forbid, of COVID. How do we assure candidates that the clients will protect them? So you know what? I've just come in with you. You have placed me in an organization. Is there any level of assurance that I will not get axed because of the last in, first out rule that is being applied? How would we approach that, Kevin?
Even before COVID, there's no guarantee. At the end of the day, employees, it's a risk for both parties when they join new organizations, or when employees bring new people in. To a certain extent, it is a risk on both parties to try each other out, because you never know. For all you know, technically you might be the right person, but culturally you couldn't fit in. When it comes to the next round, we are dealing with human, and it's going to be very difficult to have any form of guarantee that the last in will not be the first one out. But what we can guarantee is a more concerted effort in making sure that the company that you're going into is going to be the right one for you to go and create employment in. So if any agency were to go out there and to give you that sort of guarantee, it's going to be something that you should take with a pinch of salt, I would imagine.
Okay, thank you for that perspective, and I'm sure you're right. Nothing is guaranteed. Everybody carries risk together. So I wanted to just highlight another audience. Yes, Andrew Chin just joined us. Welcome, Andrew. Andrew is another schoolmate of mine. Thank you for tuning in. So he had this comment to say, oh, now the new environment must have the ability to multitask via marketing, online tools, online this and online that. In a way, Chinese say "pao ga liao" lah. You have to take in everything, and I think the message is agility, which I think we have already talked about quite significantly in the last few shows. I wanted to maybe just highlight this another question by Zorab before I move on with my own question. Where and how can one source and search for candidates today in this digital age, assuming that technical skills and behavior traits have been identified internally to resume the business in this reality? So I think Zorab is testing you on the channels for sourcing channels for candidates, especially in the digital landscape like today, and how much has this changed, or is it something slightly different from what we are used to? Maybe you want to give your thoughts on that.
I think if Zorab is, I think there's two perspectives to look at it, right? If you are an employer, I'm sure you are familiar with all the job boards and your recruiters, and even LinkedIn, for example, would have their ATS system, which I'll explain shortly. But as a candidate, if you have all the skills required, the technical skills and behavioral traits that have been identified, going to job boards, registering with headhunters is probably your first step. There are many initiatives set up by the government, in terms of creating employment or creating a platform to provide employment notices out there already in the market. You can actually leverage on that. Although it might not be as sophisticated as those established job boards, but that is a good start. Get in touch with your recruiters. They will probably be able to help. As a client, again, coming back to your question, if you are a client, your ATS system, the automatic, the applicant tracking system, a lot of people do not know that you are already being filtered the moment you register online with some key job boards, some prominent job boards. Right, job boards like JobStreet and LinkedIn, and there are ways to ensure that your CVs are substantial enough cater to the algorithm that is tracking the keywords that they are looking for, right? So if you are looking at methods, that's definitely something I'll be more than happy to share with you again.
Okay, so a quick one on that before I move on, and I think this is one question, or this is one good area that you highlighted, and I think the awareness is still very low because especially for graduate employability, I deal with students all the time. At the moment I mentioned ATS, I think half or three-quarters of the room don't even understand what ATS is, and a lot of them are still very naive to say, I go for all these job fairs, especially the big ones, pre-COVID time, 2,000, so many employers there. And they asked me to print all my CV and drop it in 3 days over a weekend in Mid Valley, Mega Mall, the big hall there, things like that. So that's where I illustrate to the point to say that if 20, 30,000 people visited the fair, that is exaggeration. I think usually it's about 15,000 over the 3 days. Imagine each company collect 5,000 CVs. Would there even be any human managers going through the 5,000 CVs?
Yeah.
And that is where the awareness of ATS suddenly dawned upon them. And a lot of them don't actually understand how this works. But maybe just a 2 quick tips of, let's say I'm a job seeker, how do I address ATS concerns and what do I do with it to ensure that I don't filter out at the first round for no good reasons?
Yeah, good point. So as an employer, you have identified a position that you need to fill, and you have identified keywords, key traits, and personality that you wish to see in potential candidates, right? And you key in all this into the platform that you are advertising your positions in, be it in LinkedIn, JobStreet, Monster, or any other job boards. And the algorithm in those platforms are going to go through the CVs that these candidates upload, and they will identify keywords very quickly. And from there, they will establish maybe out of 10 keywords that the clients are looking for, how many do you fit in? And if the parameter sets at 3 or 4, then if you meet the 3 or 4 criteria, you'll be filtered to the next level. And if the criteria has been set at a higher number, let's say 7, 8, and if you reach only 5 or 6, you automatically do not even get past the first gate. So a lot of candidates actually are unaware of such technology. These have been around for some time, for at least 3-4 years the least. And I've got candidates, very quickly, I've got candidates who say, why don't I key in all the keywords in there? And the first thing I tell them is never do that. You are over-promising and you potentially going to under-deliver. You're gonna be DOA.
Dead on arrival. Okay, I got a quick question here from Malati. So it's a very personal one. Mel asks, how difficult has you been for a recruiter for you to meet the needs of your client? If you want to just quickly share on that, cognizant of the time we have.
Well, as a recruiter, being in the market for the last 18 years, it's I don't think I've not seen requirements that is hard to deliver. It's finding the right fit. At the end of the day, I've always believed, right, and I've always explained to my client, we are not selling or we are not introducing a product like a key phone or a mobile phone or a laptop which has got specific specs to it. So you're dealing with a human being and human talent, and it's an evolving person, and so many things can happen. You can be fit 99%, but if the interviewer wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and you still need the element of luck to be with you. So as a recruiter, I think it's not going to be very difficult. It's just going to be a bit more challenging post-COVID. But with the new requirements from the clients, it's just going to be a bit more challenging.
Actually, I would look at it slightly differently, and the fact is now the whole pool that we're looking at has suddenly increased.
Mm.
The challenge now will be getting, and this is to an earlier point that you have, the challenge is actually getting the right people
Mm.
and using data analytics, because we can't go through
Correct.
5,000 CVs as an example.
Correct.
So it's now
Mm.
all about data sciences and data analytics. And
Mm.
allow me very quickly to ask that question. There are lots of comments
Yep.
being raised, but let me ask the question. What type of jobs do you feel and do you see coming out in the future, given what
Mm.
we're currently experiencing over the next year to 18 months, Kevin?
Mm. So before COVID, before this pandemic happened, right? We did a study, and to me, uh, it's still very fluid in terms of the evolution of job, the kind of jobs that are going to be one. But the key ones that I can think of are, people like social media skills, someone with social media skills, someone who has got big data analytic skills, programming, software programming, app programming, you name it. You also have got positions like uh, logistics. To a certain extent, the gig economy is blooming now.
Yep.
You have got people taking on freelance jobs, working from home, and recently, private tuition.
Yep.
These are some of jobs that are becoming more apparent and more sought after, and there are jobs that have gone, forever. They are not going to come back.
Yep.
So if you are in that category, reinvent yourself quickly.
No, absolutely. And that's certainly something we've been hearing time and time again.
Mm.
The area around relearning, the area about reframing, reimagining
Yep.
ourselves. Absolutely.
Yep.
There's a good point here that was raised by Ben.
Mm.
My disagreement with the ATS is a topic I discussed earlier. So Ben, we had the pleasure of him coming on board
Mm.
earlier, where he talked about the fact that the ATS could be slanted towards graduates,
Mm-hmm.
towards degree holders, simply because of the way the ATS
Yep.
algorithm works
Mm.
versus vocational. What are your thoughts on that? Very quickly, Kevin, and we are towards the end of the program.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's all about what the client inputs into the system.
Yep.
If the client has got a mindset of only wanting graduates, unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yep.
It's all about educating the clients. If the clients understand or the employers understand that TVET candidates can do a better job, if not as good or better job than graduates, they should be given a proper chance, opportunity. So
Agreed.
that takes education.
Agreed. And sorry, I don't mean to. There's also a very good question here from Saifi, Mr. Saifi Kaya. He comes in and says, "Hey, Kevin, do you have the feeling that the government, especially Talent Corp, is doing enough to counter the issues and prepare talents for the future requirements of this nation?" Big question, that.
Yeah. Well, Talent Corp has been tasked in identifying candidates, employees wanting to come back to Malaysia. Whether they are doing enough for future requirements, that is yet to be seen, because I believe there are Malaysians wanting to come back to contribute, but the impetus, the motivation is not there. They could be in a different motivation level, whether it's money making now or career building, or when they come to a stage where family matters and they have done whatever they need to do, they will naturally come back. So that's my thoughts. But Talent Corp as a whole have been fantastic in creating initiatives to bring talent back.
Good.
Just
Very good.
one additional point to add, and many people don't know this, and I do because I work closely with them. Talent Corp have what we call a graduate employability division that focuses on what they call emerging talents. So while you are right to say the whole nation associate them with bringing Malaysians, Malaysians overseas to come back to contribute to the country, but they have two other functions. And one of the biggest one that is very much AV today is to actually work together with a Ministry of Education as well as Youth and Sport Ministry to really focus on how to develop the younger generation. So they have quite a bit of initiative running, from identification of your preferences, skill sets, as well as also to build up graduate employability mindset in that sense. Okay, so we are, we have exceeded more than time needed, but I think this is a hot topic nevertheless. So we thank you, Kevin, for joining us this evening.
1 minute before Kevin leaves. Can I ask you for some parting words, especially for those people who are now going to go into the job market for whatever reason? Let's not talk about that. What are your 1 or 2 parting words, Kevin, to these people?
Yeah. So very quickly, the important thing is if you are not already on those job boards, register yourself. Get yourself out there in the market. You have to have a CV sorted. Speaking of CV, make sure your CV is with information that is required. Not just doing it for the sake of doing it with colors. Substance matters. Focus on your achievements rather than what you are currently doing. What you have achieved sets you apart. Reach out to people, reach out to headhunters, reach out to your contact, tell them that you are in the market. That's very important. I feel that you have to make sure that your CV is up to date, has got substance, and get it reviewed. Make sure someone trusted has got the ability to give some feedback about your CV before you send it out.
So with that, Kevin, I think we mentioned this briefly. Maybe can you do this for our audience? We invite a specific number of our audience listening in today that may need a review on their CV, and if I get them to submit to you, would you kindly do that? Maybe we will do another special show just to look at the CV and you give your inputs, not only to the particular candidate, but as
I'll be happy to.
Okay, cool. So with that,
feel free,
So I would like to just share that we're going to drop you a link on the comment section. We want you to fill up this form very quickly, just your name, your email address, and you upload a link either on a G Drive or a Dropbox of your CV and submit in this form. And the collated CVs, actually, we will organize together with Kevin for a review show. But we will qualify because of the time given. We only take the first 10 CVs, okay? So the first 10 CVs to submit, and this is first come, first serve. We will have this very special arrangement with Kevin. And thank you so much, Kevin, for your kind offer, right?
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
So that,
my pleasure.
Nice to really have you once again. We thank you all, and we hope that anybody, especially employers who are watching today, and if you need any recruitment needs, also can reach out to Kevin. He is on LinkedIn as well. Okay, so with that, we'll see you in a short while, Kevin. Thank you again. Right. So Taranjeet, quick one, 2 things.
So there is, I think you can see the resonance playing out between what Kevin is saying today and what Sharon Azmi spoke about all that while ago. The similarity of discussions was there, and which is great because it really jives very nicely. The ability now to move ahead and ensure that we do the right thing in terms of the skills that we are bringing to the table and actually putting this on the CV. Many times, I agree with Kevin, many times we tend to be overly concerned about what I have done in terms of the activities. And I did this, and I did this, and I did this, rather than what were the outcomes that I had achieved, the teams that I've managed, the financial results that I've attained, the type of cost savings that I have made. Yes, with the team, but this was what I was responsible for. And that, I think, is the criticality that is now required moving forward. What I also like is, totally unexpected, the the offer made by Kevin to go through the top 10 CVs. Very, very magnanimous of him. And I think top 10, yes, the top 10. The first 10, sorry, I beg your pardon. The first 10 CVs, very magnanimous of him. And I think we cannot get enough help of this type, especially today. So Kevin, thank you very much for that. Muihan, back to you.
So I just put in the link for the submission. So feel free to just fill in this form if you want Kevin's help. And then we will schedule another time to run a special show just to go through the CV. So with that, we thank you for your kind attention. Very quickly, I just want to share who are we having tomorrow. So tomorrow, as we announced, we are bringing on Renuka Singh. Maybe I'll just quickly just flash her. So Renuka will join us tomorrow evening as our guest, and she will bring the perspective of how do you do what we call personal branding and image, professional image, especially in managing remote teams in this current reality. She is a personal image consultant for many years, and she is one of the most influential people as well on LinkedIn Malaysia, right? So regularly running webinars, and she's very popular on Facebook as well. So we will have this very good opportunity to tap Renuka's brain, so to say, and to actually explore with us, especially from the perspective of professional managers out there. We are in the opinion that if your boss just give you the Zoom account, the Webex account, the Microsoft Teams account to manage your team is not good enough. You may need some tips on how to actually position yourself professionally. So that is happening tomorrow, and we hope to see all of you join us tomorrow again at 6 p.m. So with that, thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.